What's going on, everyone? My name is David, and today we're going to take just a minute and walk you through the exact roadmap that our clients use to be able to generate projects on demand and win back hours every single week so they can really have the business that they want. And in fact, at the end, we'll actually show you a little bit of a behind the scenes look at Bryce and how we've been able to help him generate over $100,000 in new projects. And again, just reclaim dozens of hours back from just his weekly manual tasks so he can really grow the business that he wants. And we're also going to take a minute and talk about just the three key problems that most contractors run into when it comes to having the business that they want. And we'll give you a feel for how we solve that, again, with our exact step-by-step roadmap. So with that said, let's dig in and get things rolling. All right. So part of how we get this, how we make this happen, guys, is we really just focus on our core problem we need to solve for in the middle, which is we want to be able to generate projects on demand. Far too often with all the contractors I talk to, we get frustrated by the fact that sometimes it feels a little bit like a roller coaster. We got a lot of projects coming in some months, and other months not so much. We're leaning on word of mouth or referrals, or we're just not quite having the stability that allows us to grow and scale the way we want to. And there's a few other things that tend to get in the way. The first thing that we have to solve to be able to generate projects on demand is it's having a problem with low lead flow. Let's get this pen to work. Oh, let's try that again. Got to have the pen that works. All right. So low lead flow is a problem. If we don't have the leads consistently where we want them to, we're not going to get where we need to be. The second thing that will often come up is that we have really poor follow-up. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You've got leads or bids that you sent out, people need to call and you should be following up with, but we get into this, what we call tyranny of the urgent. There's always some other thing with another customer or an employee issue or materials or something with the job site. There's always other stuff that just commands our attention right now. So we don't spend as much time or have the right process or systems in place to go follow up with leads or past bids or customers that we know could turn into cash if we just had the time. And so we kind of run into that. And so it doesn't happen. The third thing that often comes up and keeps contractors from being able to have the business that they want is that there's just really lack of systems. Things are just really manual, or we know them really well because we've been in the trades for a long time. We've been doing all the stuff, but we don't really have a system that exists outside of anywhere other than just the back of our mind. And because of that, it just isn't really scalable. It's not really something we can really grow to the extent that we have the energy or the time or the stress or the bandwidth for. So let's walk through each one of these one at a time and unpack really how we solve for that inside of our projects on demand program. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go from low lead flow. We're going to flip that to hot leads every day. All right. And when it comes to getting hot leads every single day, we break this down a little bit further to make it more actionable and show you how this all comes in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get your Google business profile locked in. Let's just face it, with homeowners these days, where do they start when it comes to looking for the contractor that they can trust? They go to Google. That's really the first place. Now there's other things they'll do second. When it comes, maybe they'll ask for referrals or talk to friends and family. They may go to social media. There's lots of places that people can go throughout their journey, but the vast majority, they go to Google. And if you're not there, if you don't have the profile, if it doesn't exist, then we got to solve that first. If it does, but it's not really generating calls for you on a consistent basis, or certainly not the amount of calls that you'd like, chances are there's a good amount of things that you haven't quite nailed when it comes to getting your profile optimized so that Google will promote you and show you where your customers are looking. So we'll take a look at your profile, get that going, and having it producing for you. The second key piece of this, and this is another one that, again, just most contractors don't know much about, or if they do, it just hasn't quite really clicked to be able to perform and deliver the leads that they'd like. We're going to get you set up with Google Guaranteed. It's also known as local services ads. So the reason why that's so important, and I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute, is that becoming Google Guaranteed is a way that you're able to have Google vouch for you, basically. Not only vouch for you, but also promote you at the very, very top of the Google search results. People always think about, how do we get to the top of Google? And generally, if you're going the more traditional route, it can take a long time to do things that are called, SEO related. This is your fast pass to the very front of the line, to the very top of the results. And more often than not, it's just not something that folks are even aware of. And the other thing, this is why this is so powerful, is that the leads you'll get through Google Guaranteed are not shared. They're exclusive leads just for you. So many times I've worked with contractors, they've been frustrated by things like Thumbtack or Angie's List or all those other lead aggregator, lead generator platforms, that it's just a feeding frenzy, and you spend the money on the lead and it doesn't perform, or you spend the money on the lead and it's been sent to dozens of other people, and it's just not an outcome that anybody wants. It ends up being a race to the bottom, and you just get frustrated. This is something that is the exact opposite of that. And so that's why we want to make sure we get you set up with that Google Guarantee checkmark and badge, and also allow you to target and really hone in on exactly the kinds of leads you want, where you want them, and how many you'd like to get. And if you have this already set up, but it's not performing, we can show you how to unlock the power that's there. But if this is new to you, then we'll make sure you have this in your arsenal so that Google will, again, deliver the leads that you want. The third piece of this puzzle is we're going to get you automated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star reviews. What we find is that there's really two reasons why your customers aren't leaving reviews. Number one is because they forget, or number two, it's complicated. They try and click on the link and it doesn't go where it's supposed to, or they're not sure and they get frustrated, so they just bail on it. So we're going to implement a system for you that reminds people and makes it one tap and it's done, all without having to deal with tricky platforms or expensive subscription services. We'll show you how to make that happen for your business, so you're getting the reviews, because the chances are you've done lots of projects, but the number of reviews that you're showing up on your profile really don't reflect the great work that you're doing. So we'll make sure that that is taken care of. We put all these three things in place because they really do all work together when it comes to Google. As you have really strong performance in every one of these categories, everything moves up together. So that's the first thing we put in place as a foundation to get your leads coming in. And by the time we got that going, now we're ready, because now by this point, the phone's ringing, you're getting leads. We want to make sure that you have what you need to be able to capture all the fish, right? We don't want anything spilling out of the bucket, or that everything's really converting the way that it should. And so from that, let's go to phase 2. We'll take your poor follow-up, and instead, we will help you install fail-proof follow-up. Wouldn't it be nice if you knew that no matter what happens, your systems for following up are going to be fail-proof? They're not going to be just left on a piece of paper that you scratch something down on, or it's in a scattered Excel sheet somewhere, or some combination, or you have software that maybe you're in the third camp and you have some software, but it really isn't quite doing what it should. We're going to help you make sure you have the things that you need. We break this into just 2 pieces. Okay, the first part is we will help implement our time saver tools. Give you one example. How many times when you set an appointment to go out to someone's home for a bid and they're not ready when you get there, or they're not quite as prepared, or they may try and reschedule the last minute, whatever the case may be. We'll help implement some tools to help save you that time, to where it's not up on you or anyone on your team to implement those reminders or check-ins. We'll have a system that automatically emails or sends text messages to your your homeowners so that they know when you're there, they know what to expect. And even we can send those reminders, not that just to tell people that you're on your way, but they can even help prime the pump so that you can convert at a higher level and give a little bit of sales material to help get people excited and ready to choose you and know why they should choose you instead of anybody else. So there's a couple things that we can do to help inside these time saver tools. Again, all this is stuff that will happen automatically without you having to worry about remembering or forgetting, whichever the case is. All right. Second piece of this one is we will help you implement lock, down, lead, nurture. So tell me if this sounds familiar. All right. You've sent out a bid and you get, or at some point you're having that conversation about what the project is, what the scope's going to be, what the price is going to be. And you hear some version of, I need to think about it. I need some time to get some money together. Maybe I'll do this in the spring or the fall or whatever other season seems like more convenient for them. Or I have to talk to my spouse or significant other, whoever it is, or any other host of reasons why people delay and put things off. Oh, let's get that back. There we go. So if that happens, then what? What is your current process for doing that right now? I want you to think about, is that something that, again, it falls to you or someone on your team to have to remember to check in? If you're doing that, a lot of guys I talk to, they're not really doing that much at all. They just move on to the next one. That's one camp. The second camp is, well, I'll send them an email, or I'll call them, or I'll text them a day or later, maybe a couple of days later. It's inconsistent at best. Or maybe they get in the third camp where they have some more regular formula that they follow. But again, it's still, because it requires manual intervention, or they have to remember to do these things, it isn't quite executed as regularly as it should. Or even in the best case scenarios, like I see most often, they may have some of these systems built out, but they're not turning into people that respond and actually put down deposits or sign contracts. So we will help you implement a lockdown lead nurture system that does all those things without having to spend any extra time. You get people just coming back to you and saying, okay, look, I'm ready to go. Here's my deposit, or let's get this started. Let's get on the schedule. So if that would be interesting, that's what we cover in this stage. Now that we've got all the leads coming in, we've got our fail-proof follow-up in place. We're now closing more deals than we ever have. We're ready to move into the next phase, because this is going to be a lot to juggle, because now we have so many more projects than we used to. But we're going to get stressed out. We're not going to have the sanity because we have a lack of systems. And so instead, we're going to help you implement scalable systems so that as you grow, you don't lose your mind. All right. So we break this into two key pieces to help you with that. The first one is we'll help you implement our ROI tracker, return on investment. Now that you've gotten so much more revenue and cash coming in than you've ever had before, we want to make sure that we're really being smart about how you're allocating your resources, how you're allocating your cash. Where the leads are coming from, where the projects are coming from, where are the deposits, all those different pieces, because we want to make sure that as we look at it, we've got great numbers and a good, easy way to be able to identify, am I putting my resources and my cash and my bandwidth in the places that give me the best return? So we can then allow us to unlock and continue to snowball that into increasing levels of growth, rather than just feeling like, well, this kind of feels good, I'll try and do this. Or, I mean, we want you to have a really easy system and really process that's data driven, that allows you to then, again, allocate where things should go to fall in the right buckets. They're going to allow you to scale with sanity versus scale with insanity. The second piece of this puzzle, and the final piece of the model to help you get scalable systems, is we call it sales mastery. Again, tell me if this sounds familiar. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you are doing most, if not all, of the selling for your business. Maybe you've got a couple other people helping you, and there's also a good chance that they don't quite perform as well as you do when it comes to closing deals. We don't want that to be the case. And we certainly want to get to a point where your business can do what we call is pass the fishing test, meaning, hey, if it's a Friday afternoon and you want to go fishing, you can, and things aren't going to fall apart. You'll still be able to make money. And heaven forbid, more than just a Friday afternoon. What if you actually wanted to take vacation and still generate cash and have the checks still come in and not have to worry the whole time you're gone about how many phone calls you're going to get, how many text messages you're going to get, all the other complaints or things that might fall through the cracks. We want to help make sure you've got a repeatable, documented, and delegatable and scalable sales system that just leaves from the back of your head into something you can really hand off and still have the business go on without you. So that's why you've got a real business and asset that you own. It's not just a job that drives you. All right. So that's really our process, folks. And this is something that, again, I talked about earlier, how we wanted to show you a little bit about how Bryce was able to add over 100K in growth to his business, and also went back several hours a week back by implementing this roadmap. And I'll show you a little bit about how we've done that for him. So just to show you, I'm not just making this up. This is Bryce's a quick video he shot, and just as a thank you or as a quick testimonial. So if that's something that you want to check out, I'm happy to send you a link to that. You can hear from him. This is a video inside our free Facebook group that we put together. So that's a little bit from Bryce, and I'll show you part of what we did. Let's see. Hang on a second. There we go. All right. I want to make sure we protect the data here. So this is, you can just see quickly looking at what we've got for Bryce. These are all the leads that are just now pouring in through our Google guaranteed system and some of the other processes we use. I'll just show you a little bit of a view here. So, I mean, you can see now in the last couple of weeks, he's got several leads over the course of us working with them. He's generated over 142 leads that he didn't have before. Another sneak preview into some of the systems we've built. This is a guy that was a self-proclaimed, a little bit hesitant or not really the most tech savvy. And I can say it because he'll tell everybody he talks to. That's kind of how he decides it. But this is the system we helped build for him. And you can see here what each one of these rows represents is a new automated system we've helped put in place to handle some of those more common manual tasks. Things like following up with estimates he sent out. Every time he gets new leads, or if he wants to send something to help get more reviews. Anytime he wants to help people that respond to his form on his website, or if he misses a call. There's so many things we've been able to build out for him. And certainly we can go into more detail if that's something that sounds interesting for you, but that's what we've been able to accomplish for him. And like I said, it's been really amazing to see and fun to watch the change for him and his business as he's grown through this system. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, and if you'd like more details about how we can help you get plugged into this program, just drop the word projects in the comments below, and I'll send you over a document that just goes through the whole thing. You can check it out. If you decide that it's for you, just let me know that you're in, and we'll get you plugged into the system. If not, that's totally fine. We're not going to beat you up through a long, drawn out sales call. It's just a simple, hey, here's the details, full transparency. Let me know if it makes sense. And we'd love to be able to help you be one of our many contractor clients who have been able to add, again, more than double their run rate in revenue and also get some time back. We'll see you on the other side.